Minnesota tonight. Minnesota tonight.
Hello, everybody. I'm Cody Nelson.
And I'm Lizzie Gardner.
And this is the state of Minnesota.
After 2 severed fingers were found at the Red River camping ground in late May, police have finally tied the digits to a 32-year-old man who lost them in a fireworks accident. When asked why the man abandoned his fingers on a picnic table instead of seeking medical help, the Grand Forks chief of police said, "I'm guessing he was in a hurry. When the Kenny Chesney concert starts, the Kenny Chesney concert starts."
Actor Jaleel White, famous for guest starring roles on hit shows such as Boston Legal, House, and Psych, made waves as people began to notice him being followed by a camera crew at the 2016 Minnesota State Fair. Eyewitness reports say the footage is for White's upcoming documentary, Did I Eat That? Early reviews are touting the film as Urkel's Blackfish.
Groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking stuff. Got a gun you don't want? The city of Minneapolis hosted a gun buyback last Saturday with the intention to recycle the guns for the use of art. The event was called Art is My Weapon, and all of a sudden I wish I'd trademarked my MySpace page.
A new study shows that Ellendale's Beaver Lake is being contaminated with algae blossoms and not, as previously reported, 5,000 gallons of sewage in a spill into the lake. One local resident was quoted as saying, okay, so it's not in Beaver Lake, but where the heck is all my sewage?
The results are in. The St. Paul Saints bobblehead giveaway election was held in late August, and among crowd selections, Donald Trump has come out the victor with 55% of attendees choosing the Trump bobblehead. In unrelated news, Sex World just got a new shipment of butt plugs in.
Speaking of butt plugs, just 5 days before the deadline to be on the Minnesota ballot for November's presidential election, Donald Trump's name was accidentally left off. Republicans were scrambling after they reportedly failed to submit paperwork by the August 29th deadline. GOP spokesmen speculate that the error was not an error. They love paperwork. You should see how much papers they have worked. It is huge. Huge!
A gun and fishing store in southeast Minnesota, so a store, I guess, has been robbed of 80 handguns. A spokesman for the Wabasha County Sheriff's Office reported that they're on the lookout for probably, I don't know, like 20 guys, I guess?
A St. Paul park is home to what could be one of the hottest spots in the country for Pokémon Go players. Evenings at Rice Park have become unexpectedly crowded in the last month, with hundreds of people milling about late into the night glued to their phones. When asked to speculate on St. Paul's success, no one said anything because, just kidding, no one asked.
The University of Minnesota unveiled new details for the construction of Athletes Village, an estimated $166 million project which includes new basketball and football facilities, a nutrition center, and the mysterious Tutors Playhouse, a windowless bunker where fully written academic papers will appear for the athletes out of a small slot. A friendly reminder from the U, tutors can't have human food. With me, everybody, don't feed the humans. We'll figure it out.
Later.
In other U of M news, the athletic department fired wrestling coach Jay Robinson last Wednesday after reports of an alleged drug ring involving many of the student athletes. Drugs? A conflicted educator? I'm no Ryan Gosling, but I'd say this coach is in a real half Nelson.
Think about 10 people saw that movie?
Enough.
The Minnesotan Republican Party has a booth at the state fair where you can get your picture taken with a cutout of Hillary Clinton wearing an old-timey prison uniform. You can also get a picture with a cutout of Trump where you're the one wearing the prison uniform.
Hot dog. In an interview with the Brody File, whatever that is, former Minnesota Representative Michelle Bachmann said that God raised up Donald Trump to be the GOP nominee. Some may question why God chose a power-hungry narcissist who had profited by mistreating people who worked for him, but I guess game recognized game.
Magnetation, a Minnesota iron range company that deals in leftover mine waste, may be forced to close in a month unless it is rescued by outside investors. Executives for the mining company reveal that their top choices would include China, Dennis Rodman, and an out-of-town billionaire with a half-wit son.
The Minnesota Department of Public Safety released its annual report on drunk driving in the state, saying that 1 in 7 drivers in the state have a DWI. 1 in 7? That's about 7 people here tonight. Look to your right. Now look to your left. Now look in 5 other directions. Lizzie has a DUI.
What can I say? Garrison Keillor published a very critical open letter to Donald Trump in the Chicago Tribune. Apparently, there's only room for one old white dude who spews incomprehensible garbage about how great things used to be. Speaking of old white dudes, comedian and actor Chevy Chase checked himself into a rehab facility in Minnesota last week for what his publicist called a tune-up. According to sources close to the actor, a tune-up could either mean Chase will clean up his career by starring in a movie that features cartoons a la Space Jam, or it could be whatever amount of cocaine it takes for Chevy Chase to return to normal. So a lot? I don't know. A little?
It's a lot. One local brewery is suing another brewery, claiming people keep confusing the two. Okay.
Oh,
Northbound Brew Pub in South Minneapolis filed a trademark violation against North Loop Brewing Company, which operates Inbound Brewing Company, alleging trademark violations concerning the use of the word bound. This just in, we are willing slaves to a neoliberal capitalist system, and no amount of local beer will change that.
Sure are. A new program pairing Minneapolis police officers with mental health professionals to assist in emergency calls involving mental health crisis is set to be implemented next year. A similar program pairing citizens with mental health experts for dealing with police is not. Yeah.
Albert J. Hofstetter, the youngest person ever elected mayor of Minneapolis, passed away last weekend. He was 34 when he was elected mayor, 75 when he died, and he wants his death to be a reminder to men everywhere not to peak too early. For the record, doctors recommend laying low and keeping it chill until like 45, 50.
Yeah. And then you can go nuts. Listen, we're all distraught over Teddy Bridgewater's leg falling off, so, we reached out to head coach Mike Zimmer for comment, and he made a statement, but we can't actually remember what it was because we are too distracted by the fact that he looks like Hannibal Lecter wearing another man's face. What?
And speaking of the Vikings, every single game of their 2016 season is sold out, according to an official statement released by the team. Upon closer examination of the box office record, turns out every single one of those tickets was bought by Teddy Bridgewater's mom. Little bit early, Mrs. Bridgewater, little bit early.
A beloved Minnesota statue of Babe the Blue Ox was knocked down last week in Brainerd. Reports speculate high winds are to blame, but we cannot rule out Paul Bunyan's drunken teenage sons just yet. Okay? They're still on the loose.
A photo of 2 bored-looking teenagers at the Minnesota State Fair went viral last week. The story behind the photo, well, we quote 17-year-old Jake Shepley, one of the stars of the photo, as saying, "I was sad because I love dipping dots, and I didn't have any more money to buy more."
Too bad. 21-year-old Reggie Lynch has rejoined the Gopher basketball team after being cleared of a sexual assault charge in August, checking off the next milestone of his path to becoming a long and successful NBA player. Yeah, that's right. Questions, comments?
Blink-182 made a triumphant return to St. Paul's XL Energy Center this week, playing their old hits and drawing a surprisingly diverse crowd. Oh, really? Okay. When reached for comment, a local concert reviewer said, "Surprisingly diverse is an understatement. I saw some white men there as young as 15.
And now, tonight's top story.
Duke the dog will serve a 3rd term as the mayor of Cormorant, Minnesota, after his near-unanimous re-election as a member of the DFL party. To be clear, DFL is not the Democratic Farmer and Labor Party, but rather the Dogs for Life party.
Yeah, get it right. Local pundits were surprised to witness the landslide vote, considering accusations that Mr. Dog regularly commingled personal and government funds.
However, the state of Minnesota team did some work with a dog translator, and after careful analysis, this is what we can safely assume was going through Mr. Dog's head. I am the mayor, I'm the mayor, and a dog, I'm a dog mayor, I love bones, and you. Now there's a platform I can get behind.
Human opponent, Chet Gordon, attributes Mr. Dog's victory to the City Council's last-minute approval of Dog's highly controversial butt-sniffing law, wherein all residents of Cormorant are not only allowed but highly encouraged to sniff one another's gluteus maximuses.
Maximi, I believe.
Oh, maximi, excuse me, plural.
Chet Gordon's opinions, though passionate, seem to be in the minority in the town. Not to mention that Gordon has had trouble escaping the shadow of Catgate, a 2014 scandal in which he drunkenly revealed he liked how low maintenance they could be.
Oh, yeah. That was the end.
That was the end.
Tune in, Minnesota tonight.